Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk. What's up, everybody? Big Herc, Prison Talk, and you're tuned into another motherfucking episode of one of the dopest shows on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, that bell, make sure you do so you don't miss out. And also check out the website, www.FreshOutSeries.com, and get you a wig splitter. Had a question from one of our viewers. Hey, Big Herc, I'm a big fan of your show, Fresh Out, and if you got a chance to be on TV, I will shout out to you. Anyway, I want to know why a lot of black men are more likely to get incarcerated than whites. What is your stance on this? Keep up the great work, Big Herc. From Bryan from Marietta, Georgia. Black men and white men, as far as getting locked up. I don't know if you watch the news or if you just see what's going on in our culture, but minorities, just in general, are those neighborhoods are patrolled more than white neighborhoods, and incidentally, the neighborhoods that are being patrolled have a higher demographic of blacks and Hispanics or brown. It could be Cubans or whoever, or Dominicans or Puerto Ricans, but just black and brown demographics. And a lot of times, when they say a crime is being committed or somebody's done something, it could have been whatever, the warrant or whatever could have been executed illegally, or maybe the person did get pulled over, but there was something in the whole incident that wasn't right. And once that person gets locked up, usually they don't have the money to fight their case. Most blacks, most browns, they don't have the financial backing to bail out, to fight their case, to get a private attorney. And when you don't have that, you sit in jail, and a lot of times they tell you just take the charge and you'll be out, but you'll be on probation, and that's the best thing going. So a lot of these guys take these cases and later on end up catching another case, and then that's how they get time. So it adds up, and it all boils down to financial. You know, a lot of white guys, they have money, and it's just, you know, they got family money, or they got resources that allow them to bail out, get a better representation, and basically beat their case. Because maybe it was an illegal search and seizure, or maybe it was, the warrant was executed illegally. There's a lot of different things. There's a lot of loopholes in the law whenever somebody gets caught up. But a lot of times, what I find, having been in the pen and been around guys who study the law, is the white guys in there are more educated. They have a better understanding of the law. They might even have somebody in their family that's a lawyer or an attorney that can advise them, so when they do get in trouble, they got resources. There's some black people, there's some Hispanic people that have resources also, and they beat their cases, or maybe they don't do as much time. But the majority of the people locked up, a lot of times it has to do with poor economics, resources, and you saying, okay, yeah, the guy commits a crime, he gets locked up. Okay, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, when a person has resources to try to stretch that case out, they maybe won't do that time. So that plays a big factor. And being able to get out on bail so you can keep your job, being able to support your family, it all plays a factor in why you see a disparity and more minorities going to jail than you do whites per se. And we look at society-wise, you have 60-something% white, and you have maybe 16% black, but then you have over half the prison population, more than probably close to half the prison population is black. And a lot of that, like I said, relates to education. If you had a lot of these guys, I realize the more educated you are, the less likely you are to commit crime. And so when you remove a lot of the programs in inner cities, not everybody can pull themselves up by their bootstrap. Some people need help. So when people say, oh, well, man, I made it out of the neighborhood. I made it out. Okay, you made it out, but that don't mean this person isn't trying. Maybe they're trying and they haven't been able to get out. So sometimes these stepping stones that is provided by the county or the community is a big help. And when they cut those programs, they cut a lot of the after-school programs. They cut a lot of the different funding for different educational programs. These kids now go and hang out in the street. So it leads to crime. And it's a fact. So money, finances all play a factor in why minorities are doing the things they do and why they get caught up in a lot of the situations they get caught up in and why you see so many of them locked up. A lot of them don't even know what the hell they're locked up for. They just know they got locked up maybe for drugs or something, but they don't really know the law per se, why they're in there. So like I said, the disparity, of course you have more of a police influence in the minority neighborhoods. And yeah, there might be in some instances more crime per se because they're in these neighborhoods. But at the same time, education plays a factor. And I think that the more you pump as far as education into community, the less crime you have, because people will see other opportunities and realize that the crime way is not the way to go. And that's my whole take on the whole thing, man, is basically shifting of education.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in. Exclusively at FreshOutSeries.com.